welcome to Modern Odyssey on Bronx, Net, and beyond. I'm Dr. Despina Afentouli. Today, we have the honor to have with us Assemblyman John Lemondes. Mr. Lemondes, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for having us over your office today. It's an honor. We are in Albany, New York. And so, Mr. Lemondes, please tell us more about, your story.
Sure.
We know you're a politician, but first of all, we'd like to get to know you as a person. So, can you please tell us more why you think it's important to preserve your Hellenic heritage? And no matter where you come from, actually, why is it important to preserve your culture?
Sure. I think that America is a melting pot of the rest of the world. And so Greek Americans as a part of that are incredibly important considering our history and where we came from and what we faced, what my grandparents faced, not I, when they came here. Deep prejudice, they were not wanted, and they faced employment discrimination. They had all kinds of things that the press and history forgets about and doesn't really do a good job of telling. Kids in school would not know that. And so what they did and why it's important to make sure that our children understand this is they fought through that, they buckled down, they contributed in one generation. No other ethnic group that has come to this country has been able to do that. My grandparents came here with absolutely nothing. Their home was stolen, their money was stolen, and their lives were almost taken. They were able to escape the genocide, the Armenian Pontian genocide.
So the Christian genocide.
Yes, the Christian genocide, exactly.
We're going back to the beginning of the 20th century.
That's right, 1914 to 22.
And so your family comes from these places.
Yes.
In Asia Minor?
Yes. And so it was extremely important for me to be able to put the resolution forward last year. It took a lot of work. There was resistance to it, but like anything, the case can be made, which I made, that how can you deny something that's historically documented, and it's a genocide. So it was extremely important to get this resolution through, and this week, ironically, will be the second time that I honor it. So I'm very proud of that.
So we're talking about the Christian genocide?
Yes, against
during the Ottoman Empire?
You have, yes. And so that's primarily the three most targeted groups were Pontian Greeks, Assyrians, and Armenians. And so of which, for all of those killed, of course, history doesn't know exactly. There was an equal number of expatriates where their home countries could not absorb them, simply because of the scale of the out-migration. And that's what led to my grandparents coming to the United States. So.
And last year we commemorate 100 years
Yes.
of that dark side of history.
Yes.
So apart from a politician and apart from being a Greek American, you have also served the army?
Yes.
So what made you participate in the army?
So first, I'm not a politician, I'm a representative. And I say that to people all the time when I speak publicly because I want them to know that I am not a professional politician. There's a whole career of duty, service, and obligation behind me that I bring to this job. That's why I call myself a representative. Politicians that get into politics and stay in politics as an elected guy their whole lives, they miss out. They don't necessarily understand business and the economy. They may have never paid somebody. They may have never served and served their country at all. And so I think it's important to point out to people that coming in as a representative later in life with experience behind you is a benefit to the people that you represent. And so I served in our military voluntarily. That service took me to Iraq and Afghanistan. It was 27 years in length, and I did so because I felt like I had an obligation to the men that went before me and my own family. It's that simple.
And right now, you participate in certain committees. Would you like to talk more about the committees you participate in, and what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve through these committees in the end of the day?
So several committees, the Agriculture Committee, the Environmental Conservation Committee, the Banking Committee, the Economic Development Committee, and the Corporations Committee. They each have different goals. Where I put most of my effort is in agriculture, because agriculture is our state's #1 industry, and it's my district's #1 industry, followed by economic development. It's critical. As you know, New York has the highest outmigration in the nation, so we are hemorrhaging population left and right, and this is a terrible thing. We have policies that are making people feel like they have no future here and they have to leave. And so I think it's important and it's critical. I asked to be on the Economic Development Committee to do everything possible to give New York a win, to give people some hope so they can stay and so that they can build a life here and not feel like they must leave, which has happened in the past.
What are the most important problems you see in the agriculture sector?
So the agriculture sector right now is under immense pressure in this state, both from an overtime threshold perspective, where they're lowering the number of hours that a person has to work in a week in order to get overtime, which may sound good if you're in a factory. It's terrible for agriculture because we might go a week without being able to work because of the weather or other circumstances, maybe 2 weeks where we can't work. So our work is stockpiling, and then that might mean, okay, we couldn't work for 10 days. Now we have to work 15 hours a day for the next several to make up for it. And so if a farm is constantly overtime because it can't work, its workers can't work, then the farms go out of business because the labor laws are so disproportionately in favor of the worker now because they're raising minimum wage simultaneously. Plus the federal for migrant labor wages this year was $16.95 an hour plus free housing plus free utilities. So that's fully burdened. In an accounting sense, that's about $32 an hour for unskilled labor. Extremely expensive.
What would be the best way to deal with this issue?
So what I am doing is I engage from local to national in 2 sectors, 1 defense and 2 agriculture. And on this particular issue, this is the Farm Bill year. And so the Farm Bill in this, for us, comes only every 5 years. So it's critical to address issues that are impacting agriculture negatively this year because you're stuck for 5 years before you can do it again. So I've already written a letter to the chairman of the House Agriculture Committee with multiple co-sponsors here and asking them for New York to be able to have a waiver process because we have so many cataclysmic forces working against us that other states don't have in order to waive that so that New York can be looked at as its own entity and that wage rate decreased appropriately. Because we have the drivers behind this are highest taxes in the nation, highest migration in the nation, second highest utility rates in the nation, ranked dead last, 50 out of 50 for business friendliness, the ability to conduct business, and we're ranked 51 out of 50, dead last, for the ability to practice medicine. So doctors and medical communities are fleeing left and right as well. That's what motivates me, trying to turn it around.
It's important to find ways to motivate ourselves, right?
Yes.
In life, and trying to be useful in any way we can in the society, I guess. Right. And today, it's also a Community Advocacy Day. According to your opinion, what do you think is important to preserve community media, local journalism, and civic engagement?
I think all of them are important. I think civic engagement is really important, and that's one of the things that I think when people say, I'm not going to vote, I don't care, my vote doesn't count, you are dead wrong. That is the one thing in this country that separates us from many others is the right to vote and the manner in which it's done, which, by the way, is derived from our Greek heritage, the inventors of democracy. With all of its imperfections, it's the best form of government that there is, and we know that. Look at what our country has been able to do. Lots of warts, lots of problems, lots of things to solve going ahead, but still, we are great because of that heritage and because of our embracement of democracy. And so one of the responsibilities of a citizen with respect to democracy is exercising your vote. So if you throw it away and do nothing, don't come and say, hey, it's my fault. You know, if you fail to tell me, hey, the representative's job is to listen to the people. And the people may want to go in a direction that I personally don't want to go in. I just did this the other day. Personally wanted to go in one direction, and all of the people that I spoke to said, no, we don't want that. We want this. And I supported them. That's the job. You have to be able to put your personal beliefs aside on behalf of the people that you represent. So with respect to civic engagement, that's critical that people understand that our schools incentivize that and teach children that. And civic engagement is a lot different than burning your cities down and looting everything. That's not civic engagement. That's complete destruction. And so when people incentivize those activities, I am completely against that, because here you are, you have small businesses, you have people that have put their lives into making something nice for their community, and then somebody decides they don't like it and they loot it and burn it to the ground. That's not America. It's not the one I grew up in. And so it's important to understand that civic engagement is peaceful. And that's the one thing, again, that sets our government apart from others, is our ability to transition power peacefully. Critically important point. I think the last piece on this is for advocacy for an open press that is fair, that does not promote only one side of views and bury everything else. Journalists have to be neutral. In order to really do their job professionally and well, they have to be able to look at the issues of opposing sides and let each side talk and capture each side so that their product, whether it's radio, TV, print, any other types of social media, so that the facts are put out and that people can draw their own conclusion, knowing, or at least having the hope, that those facts presented are unbiased.
That's in the core of the ideal of the professional journalism,
Yep.
what you exactly described.
Yes.
And that's why we're saying that this Community Media Advocacy Day was focused more on the protection and the support of the community media,
Yeah.
in order to make sure that local voices are also heard.
Yeah.
Because you have the mainstream media that cover, general politics or different kinds of stories,
Yeah.
but local voices are not always heard at that level. So
Right.
here are the local media
Yeah.
to cover this gap in a way, let's say.
Right. So it's funny that you say that, because usually when I am interviewed, I'm a Republican. Everybody else in my county at my level of government, they're all Democrats. And so I might be interviewed, but my interview is never aired, hardly ever aired. Only the Democratic perspectives are put out on TV. Not always, but most of the time. And now I've been in office, this is my third year, and usually they don't even give me the courtesy of an interview. So not only do they not even interview me, but when they do interview me, rarely do they actually put it out so people can hear a Republican voice. And that's just, it's unprofessional, and it is, in my opinion, it's really dangerous, because you're trying to manipulate people in a way that's not healthy.
So that's why we're here today.
Right.
You see us in BronxNet, we don't make any, discriminations against that. We want to give the voice to everyone who has something important to say,
Yep.
And so before thanking you for this great interview, I'd like you to please send a message to our Greek and international community who's watching our program.
So thank you for the opportunity. It was really wonderful. I would like to say to the entire Greek community internationally, I am so proud of our heritage. And it's not a flag that I wave. It's not something I wear on my body. I am simply proud of where I came from, the work ethic that my family has given me, and most importantly, above all, the trait of never quitting. Our family, like many of yours, has been burned out of our homes, thrown out of our homes, and had every other type of ill that humanity can deliver to others thrust upon us. And as a second generation Greek American, I am intensely proud of the fact that when my children are grown, I hope to have given them the same set of traits. And when you look at our in the world, Greece's position, it's important for us as Westerners and members of NATO as well to back Greece. Greece is in a pivotal location in the world. And if, for example, Turkey does withdraw from NATO, Greece will need our support, the U.S.'s support and the Western support more than ever, because that will destabilize the entire region and potentially the world.
Thank you so much, John Lemondes. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet and beyond. I'm Dr. Despina Afentouli. Until next time, γεια σας.